So that wraps up day 2 of the IBA 2025 World Championships here in Dubai. I'm joined by commentator Andy Clark and IBA CEO and OBE Chris Roberts. Andy, so you were commentating on this ring right here. How did you find day 2?
It was really, really good. I mean, the first couple of days here have been great. You could see there's quite a lot of claret liberally sprinkled around this canvas because we've had plenty of crunchy finishes, plenty of knockouts and plenty of tough fights, and I saw some real class in here today as well because I had Asakuja Udin Kujaya, for example, Olympic champion. He looked good, very business-like in his performance. Arlen Lopez, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, one of my all-time favourites. I remember watching him train before the WSB finals 10 years ago over in Kazakhstan, and I've been kind of semi-obsessed with him since, to be honest. And I remember getting in a minibus with him in Thailand about 2 years ago, and I was so pleased to see him because I was sitting between him and Julio La Cruz. I think I scared them slightly, but I'm sure he's used to it. So he was really good. He still very much wants it. You know, you can see that the fire still burns there. And in the first session, I was really impressed with the Uzbek super heavyweight Arman Makanov, who produced a really crunching finish against Chris Thompson, a big muscular South African who we saw get a really good win in Manila on an IBA Pro card a few weeks ago. Russian body shot stoppages, Evgeny Kool and Jambalat Bishamev almost literally eviscerated their guys. And they were so clinical and cold, you know, exactly what you want from that kind of fighter. And a really good contest as well, actually, between Robert McNulty of Scotland and Akmaljon Isroilov, very, very good fighter. And McNulty stood firm. He really stood firm. It was a high quality contest, and he didn't get anything off the judges in the end. But you know, that's just the harshness of boxing scoring more than anything else. I thought he did well.
I have to say that, Andy, pristine name pronunciation, very, very impressive. Chris, you would have been here, there, and everywhere. But from what you've seen so far in the first 2 days, how pleased have you been with the boxing? And has anyone caught your eye specifically?
Well, you know, we always like the Cubans, and the Uzbeks particularly as well. You know, it's good. We've seen a couple of good performances from the Kazakhs as always. They come up straight from the starting blocks, and away they go right throughout. But I think just, you know, generally the competition's, it's been a fantastic start. 2 days we're in now, as Andy's just said, and you know, the guys coming in the morning, weighing in on point, preparing themselves through the day. When you go outside and you have a look at the warm-up area, they're all getting the kit, they're all getting ready. You know, it's fantastic. And I think just the general camaraderie of the teams working together, and you can see it, you get a nice feel. The venue's fantastic, you know, really nice. 5 p.m. start, session 1. And on the back of that, the lights then start coming down, and what you get here is a fantastic venue. Andy talks about the claret on the ring here, on both rings, and certainly, you know, we're going to see a lot more. But I think the standard of boxing has been excellent. Generally, the prelims you see some disparity between, you know, particularly 3-3s. It's fast, it's furious. But I think, you know, the general standard, particularly as well from Africa, you know, the Africans have been working extremely hard, and they've been doing a lot of work here just, you know, generally to physically get here. But when you look at some of the discussion points we've seen, particularly in the groups and what's been happening in Angola and one or two others, Congo, you know, we're going to see some, you know, we're going to see some nice boxers going through, and yeah, looking forward certainly to day 3 on the scales again tomorrow morning. Yeah,
absolutely. And Andy, it's obviously early days. A lot of guys have obviously only boxed once, so maybe not so individually, but in terms of team-wise, what camp and team have you been impressed with most?
I mean, I think it is generally the kind of powerhouses. The Kazakhs and the Uzbeks in my ring have been impressive. I saw a good Tajikistan fighter I liked yesterday, a young guy, only 20 years old. But Chris is right, you know, you get people who come through who you're not really expecting, and the ones I almost enjoy the most in the early stages are when I get 2 fighters who I don't know, who I've never seen. Because you look at them, you look at the shape of them, and you're kind of guessing as to how they're going to go about it. And sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're wrong. And sometimes you see someone who's really raw, really dig in, and they might not win, but you look at them and you think possibilities with them because they've got the minerals, and maybe that technique can be just fine-tuned a little bit. And you're looking for one of them, I am anyway, to just go deep and bag some of this prize money, because that can make a massive difference to them and to the organisation back home, because that's how things really change. And we all love an underdog, don't we? Absolutely. So, we all love one of them to get behind from the start, I think.
And the stars were out tonight. Amir Khan was here, and Andy mentions the prize money there. We relayed just how much money's on the line here, and he said he got paid a couple of £100 every few months, so he was just blown away by the prize money that's on offer. But he was also, you could see, reminiscing a little bit. He said, I've been here before, I've done the 2 rings. It almost brought him back a little bit. So it was good to have Amir here today, wasn't it?
Amir's he's a great supporter of IBA, and he's living in Dubai. He comes along to all of our events. He was here at the last event in when we had it here last year in Dubai, and certainly, he's very keen to support what we're doing. He often said, and I've spoken to him a lot about this, he wishes that the opportunities were around in those days for him at that time. And of course, particularly with GB Boxing and the podium now and how that has all come about, I think just in the early days it was starting to take off. Early times for him during his Olympic stage would have been really good having had that opportunity now. But we're here now, and IBA providing a really good platform for these guys to see. And it's great to have Amir here, I think it gives the guys a bit of a boost as well when you're seeing our pros at the side, and the local heroes and legends, particularly as we know as well from the UK, which is brilliant. Home from home, eh?
Yeah, I mean, he came over to do an interview with us, which was meant to be 5 minutes. It ended up being about 50 minutes because he stopped and took so many pictures. But Andy, Amir also did stress the importance of that amateur grounding, and he named all the guys that have come through, your Joshuas and so on. And you've seen that at so many tournaments as well. And that he was saying it really does start here, and you can attest to that as much as anyone.
Yeah, it does. And when you look at pro boxing, okay, you don't have to have that, and it's good when people come through who haven't done it, because it encourages other people who haven't done it that they can make it. But it's definitely a good thing if you have had it, because every now and again you'll get some people in pro boxing who will not exactly sneer at a long amateur career, but it's almost, they'll go down the kind of silver spoon route and all that kind of stuff. But it's tough. Like these elite programs for all of these countries, particularly the major countries who are really well resourced, they are hard work. Training camps are not easy. And if you've got that under your belt, then you can really hit the ground running. And he knows that. And I'm not surprised that, he came alive when he started talking about this, because in my experience, that always happens with pros. They go back to the amateurs, and it's a simpler time for them. And I know there's a lot of prize money involved here, but it's still, this is sport, right? This is pure sport. And that's what it's always been to them when they're amateurs. And they'll kind of roll their eyes when they talk about the pros and say, yeah, it becomes a business then, and you have to do this and you have to do that. Whereas this is pure sport. The draw is made, and you fight who you fight. You can't see the draw and say, well, I don't quite fancy that. Can we do that in a year in my back garden? You can't do that, and that's what they love about it.
Yeah, the best fighting the best. And the best fighting the best continues here for day 3 tomorrow.